Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I am here to review Top Gun because the sequel is coming out on Friday and I have never seen the original Top Gun until now. I'd like to save a lot of old movies as much as possible so that I can have them to watch and discover and see if I like them, since all the movies that come out nowadays suck. They just don't feel the same because they're made with a different mindset of like, this is 2022, we can't do certain things, we can't have certain things happen in it. Every movie is the same, really. They're all just formulas. And all the old movies, though, they're all pieces of art for the most part. And this movie in particular, it's an iconic film, and so I wanted to save it as much as possible until it was the right time to watch it. And I think now was the right time. I think it was good to get it over with in a way, because I watched it and I was kind of thinking, well, it's not bad. I have mixed feelings about it, because it starts off like it could be a really, really good movie. It starts off and you have the song, the Danger Zone song, which the best thing about can we all agree that the best thing about the movie is that song? I mean, that really is the highlight of the movie, is that song playing. And that's the unfortunate part, is there really isn't any other music throughout the entire film that measures up to that one song. And I think that was one issue that I had. There was this one song, and I swear they kept repeating it over and over again. It was like, it was bizarre. It was like they're forcing this song down your throat. It's this like romantic, weird, slow, boring song. But you know what I didn't like about it was there's a lot of songs and they just feel like 3 minutes of build-up with no meat and potatoes. There's the meat and potatoes of the Danger Zone is the, welcome to the Danger Zone, blah, blah, blah. But before the welcome to the Danger Zone, you have the, the building up, the or however it goes. It sounds pretty weird when I do it, because I don't want to get copyright struck either. But that just imagine that build up is the entirety of the song, and it would suck. It would suck. But they have this other song in the movie, and that's what it is. It's this dull, romantic, It's not even romantic. It doesn't turn me on. It doesn't make me want to, it doesn't make me get excited at all. It's a terrible song. I don't even know what it's called. I know the Danger Zone's called the Danger Zone because why wouldn't you call the Danger Zone song the Danger Zone? Welcome to the Danger Zone. But this song, they just played it over and over and over again, and I wanted to just I wanted to hit something. Like, I wanted to hit the screen of my the screen I was watching the movie on. Like, it's like a foreplay type music. Like, they kept on playing it before he would kiss the woman, the instructor. Can't remember her name. I just remember she's an instructor. But she was pretty good. She was a highlight of the movie. Her acting, that is. Her acting and her look. Not the story of her character, for the most part. Okay, we'll get into that. But this song, and they played it at the very end, too. They don't even play the Danger Zone at the very end. That's another thing, is that they kind of played the Danger Zone song but they didn't really play the whole thing. They just played like little snippets of it. Whereas with that other song, what was it? It was like, I don't even want to remember it. It was this really awful old people foreplay type of song. Like you're watching these two old people like do foreplay with each other, and you're listening to the song, and it's this like dull, boring, slow thing that's happening, and it's not titillating at all. You have a song like not Dream Window, Come to Me in Fright Night. That's the ultimate foreplay song. That's the ultimate sex song. And that song just builds and builds and builds, and it reaches a climax by the end. It is an incredible, masterful piece of sexy music. But this song that they kept on playing whenever he's going to kiss the instructor, or at the end when she comes back, it is the most slow-moving, most annoying song. And it's funny because the character in the film, he thought it was annoying, and he said, my mom, she used to play this song for 6 hours, and it used to annoy the shit out of me. And I guess now it doesn't anymore, because it kind of reminds him of her, and it's kind of like a nice sentimental song. But like, I don't care who played this song. Like, they played this song 6 hours straight. Like, no thanks. I would, if that's torture. That's what they do in Guantanamo Bay. If you played that song for me all day, 6 hours or more, I would die. I would just die. I mean, I hate that. I hated that song so much, and it just completely took me out of the movie. It's like I just want to pick up my phone and start like choking it, like Homer Simpson choking Bart. Like, just get off of that song. Play another song. It's the 80s. You have a plethora of songs. You have an entire arsenal of songs, and you're just playing that over and over again. Just stop. Okay, that's what I have to say about that. I hated that song. I hated it. It was really... But it was more of an issue in the second half than the first half. The first half was fine. And so this movie is about, you have this Top Gun flight school, and all these pilots are there so that they can be tested and instructed before they become official pilots, and they have to go fight real bad guys. And that was sort of part of the issue for me, was that this movie didn't really feel like it had a lot of stakes. Like, the people in this movie, they're all really confident, they're all really good at what they do, and there wasn't really many times, except for the opening scene, where I felt like there were stakes. Like, I felt like, oh shit, like, I didn't really feel it. I couldn't really feel it. I felt it more, I felt the story was better when they were out of the sky. Like, I liked the scenes where, there was some cringy stuff. I mean, not cringy in terms of, like, I consider it wrong or outdated, quote unquote, but just cringy in terms of a lot of stuff that didn't really connect. This movie had a lot of moving parts, and it didn't really feel like a complete picture. It felt like this was a book that someone wrote, and it was from their personal experience, and they didn't really want to include everything, so there's a lot of, like, missing stuff. I really thought that the best character, or I guess my favorite character, was the mustache man, the Viper guy. I thought that he was the best character. He was pretty cool, and he seemed like a really, like, a badass type of a war movie character. Like, I'd much rather watch a movie with him as like their leader and he's like fighting with them than watch a movie about Tom Cruise and, he's just being Tom Cruise essentially. He's not really acting a whole lot. And that's part of the reason I also don't like this movie as much and why I'm mixed about it is because a lot of this movie is typical Tom Cruise. Like the reason that a lot of people don't like Tom Cruise. He's just being Tom Cruise. Whereas you could have a movie like Magnolia where he's actually putting on a performance. Or like, what was that? Born on the 4th of July. Stuff like that. He's putting on performances in those movies. In this movie, he's a archetype. He's just nothing but a cardboard cutout of a character, but he is likable, and so that's what saves it. He's likable on screen. That's where it ends, because if you think about this character, all the risks that he takes, all the times where he's so full of himself, and he could get people killed. That was a real risk that I felt, and it's like if you were with this guy in flight school in real life, I don't think you'd like him. I think that you would hate him because he's annoying, he's overconfident, but that's his character, at least he has a character. He has some unique characteristics, I should say, but he's just not that likable as a character. The only reason he is a little likable is because he's Tom Cruise. So that's number one. His character, he's an okay character to follow, I guess. I don't know. The movie didn't really have much of a story for me. Like, I didn't really care all that much at the end of the film what happened. The only thing that I really cared about was that he got with his instructor, because I kind of thought that was cool. That was kind of fantastical, and the way that, you had the, she's playing hard to get, and he really wants to date her, and I kind of like that aspect of the movie, but then she literally drops off of the film. Like, that's what I'm saying, is that this movie didn't really feel complete. Like, she just drops off, and she doesn't come back until the very end. Now, let's talk about that sex scene, okay? There's a couple of, like, iconic things you have to talk about if you talk about Top Gun. One of them is that sex scene. I gotta say, that is one of the worst sex scenes I've ever seen. It was like watching two dolls make out. It was like watching, you take a Barbie doll and you take a Ken doll, and then you fuck with the lighting and you put this neon coloring in the background. It's probably one of the most boring, unappealing sex scenes I've ever seen. It was awful. I hated it. I mean, you had, you had everything. You had this extremely appealing character in this instructor woman. And she was good. I actually liked her acting quite a bit. I thought that she was a standout. She was a really, really nice, fantastical character. Everyone has like a fantasy of like someone they can't have, and that's kind of what she was. And she has the classic 80s blonde hair, and she's pretty dreamy. And it's like, how do you screw up a sex scene with a character who looks like her? Like, how you do this, essentially. Like, this sex scene with Tom Cruise after he gets out of the shower, just like, I did not like that at all. I thought it was trash. And then the thing at the end where, at the end of the movie, she comes in to the diner she puts on that horrible song that made me want to jump out the window. Like, I couldn't imagine filming this movie and having to hear that song nonstop. I would probably quit. I would probably get like that guy at the beginning and just go like, okay, I am done. I need to see my family. I haven't ever seen them. Oh, I can't do it. You know, that's what I would be like if I had to hear this shit all day long. Seriously. But at the end of the movie, they come up to each other in the diner and they kiss, and it's sort of like, okay, I guess this is a happy ending. Because that's another thing. I don't know why this movie would attract people to want to join the this Top Gun school, and why they would want to be pilots, because they showed in this movie this character, he's not a happy character. Like, he's doing everything he's doing because his parents are dead and he misses them, and he wants to get with this instructor who's probably gotten with like 1 million students at the school. And then she leaves because she gets a better job far away from wherever he's going to be. And then his wingman dies, and he feels guilty for that happening. And at the end, he just has like one little thing that happens that he does a good job and he graduates, but still, like, his character doesn't seem very happy. Like, I wouldn't want to be him. That's another thing, is like, the only time I really wanted to be him was when he dates her. But at the same time, they didn't really do that good either, because the story didn't really go anywhere with them. But you had that scene at the end where they kiss, and they made their silhouettes dark again, just like in the sex scene. And I thought, see, this is the problem with that scene, is that you could have made that scene, you could have just green screened that scene and changed the background to the bedroom, and then vice versa, and there would be no difference for those scenes. And that's why I feel like it sucked, because it was just so boring and conventional. And I know it's PG-13, but come on. Like, really? You can't do anything interesting. You can't, there's nothing dynamic. But yeah, I did like some of that with the instructor. I think that was one of the better elements of the film. Other than that, I really didn't like the flying sequences. Like, they were very confusing, and they weren't really all that impressive, except for at the beginning and the end, where you see, like, the silhouettes and you see the orangey picture that they have of the screen. I mean, that looked really good. There were some really nice shots in the film. The film looked spectacular. It looked like a painting. The whole movie looked like a classic painting, and it's very Americana. That's another thing. This is an American movie. Like, this is purely American. And that's another thing that I love about the movie. Another thing that, one of the more redeeming aspects of the movie. Because other than that, I mean, this movie's pretty empty. It's pretty one note. Like, you're just watching this guy in flight school, and he's really full of himself, and then he gets his wingman killed, and he feels bad, and then at the end he redeems himself a little bit. It's basically a rom-com story formula, but with guys instead of a guy and a girl. Like, it reminds me a little bit of I Love You, Man, the way that they kind of switched around the formula a little bit and replaced the girl with a guy and with friendship. And I will say this, though, is that, like, I don't really think the movie's that gay. Like, a lot of people say this movie's the gayest movie of all time. I don't think so. Like, I think that, these people, they get close to death. Like, they get close to dying with each other in the sky. They're risking their lives all the time when they fly. And so if they have this, like, natural chemistry and this natural bond with each other, I don't really think there's anything gay about that. Like, I think that's natural. Like, it fits, That they even talk about that in the movie, in the first scene, how, like, you're not with your family all the time, you're flying all the time. You're flying all the time with these guys, so you're going to get a lot closer to them than your family, probably. And that's what really you saw in this movie. I really liked Val Kilmer, too. I liked Iceman a lot. He was probably my favorite pilot, honestly, out of all the young guys. I liked him more than Maverick. I thought that he was a lot smarter. And that was another thing, was I really wanted to see the different styles colliding. Like you have the main guy, Maverick, and he's cocky and overconfident. And then on the other side, you have Iceman, and he's like a strategist. And he's a lot more focused, and, they said, like, he waits his enemies out until they get tired and make a mistake. I would have liked to have seen more of those fighting styles of, like, kind of like in Cobra Kai, you have the different kinds of fighting styles, the Miyagi-Do and the Eagle Fang and Cobra Kai, those different fighting styles colliding. That's what I like about Cobra Kai a lot now, is that you have these different fighters, these different fighting styles clashing. But overall, I would say, even like my review is pretty fractured and fragmented because it reflects the movie. I guess the movie was okay. I mean, it was a positive movie. It's a nice summer movie. I could definitely imagine seeing this in the summer and having popcorn and a soda with ice, lots of ice, and just watching this movie and enjoying it on a Friday night. So I would say that this movie is definitely, I'm going to give another popcorn review. I would say this movie is definitely a medium bucket of popcorn with butter, salt, maybe avocado oil instead of butter. I don't know. Whatever you guys want, whatever you prefer. And then a nice medium soda. I would say in the summer, the best soda to have in the theater is probably, I think it's Fanta. I think the orange soda wins in the summertime. I would say that, like, in the fall and then in the spring, you can make an argument for a brown soda, like a Dr. Pepper. But I think in the summer, you're looking for that tangy, orangey flavor. And I think that this movie is like popcorn and soda. It's pure blockbuster summer, blockbuster movie. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not every movie has to be a masterpiece. Not every movie has to be the greatest thing of all time. Not every movie has to have complicated, complex arcs and character arcs and things. Movies can just be fun movies. Like, they can just be good, fun movies like this one. And even though this movie has flaws, I might watch it again sometime in the distant future. Definitely, when I have children, I would watch this movie with them. And I would say, like, yeah, let's put on Top Gun. And let's all sit on the couch together and watch Top Gun. It's definitely a movie that parents should show to their kids, because it's a very fun, sort of little kid-oriented movie. I mean, I know that sounds funny, but you know what I mean. Like, when you're a kid, you just think about, I want to see a movie with action and playing and stuff, and Tom Cruise and cool sunglasses guy, and hot girl, and flying stuff. You just want to see stuff like that, and that's what this movie is. And another problem, maybe it was the fact that people already spoiled this movie for me a million times. That's another problem with these old movies, is that I want to put as much distance of time as possible in between when I got spoiled and when I watched the movie. Because people have spoiled for me a million times that Goose gets killed and all the stuff like that. They even spoiled the fact that he gets with the instructor. That would have been something to be like, oh, will they, won't they? And so I really kind of didn't care at all about Goose dying. Like, I honestly did not care at all. At all. I did not feel any emotion. I don't think I ever felt any sad emotion throughout the entire film. The only thing that I felt was annoyance by Tom Cruise's character and by that awful song. And also I was very into seeing that instructor and, yeah. And the mustache man, Viper. He was really cool. I liked him a lot. He was probably the best part of the movie. Him, the instructor, and Iceman, they were the greatest parts of the movie. Everything else can just go fly a kite. Don't fly a plane. Go fly a kite. Yeah. So anyways, it was okay. Please like this video, comment. Well, actually, I'm kind of scared of the comments now. I really, comment, tell me what you thought of the movie. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more movie reviews where I maybe I tear a movie apart and I look like I'm just a typical young critic who doesn't appreciate the old things. Even though I said I like this movie, some people are going to say, Marco, why did you hate Top Gun? Marco, Tom Cruise is amazing. Top Gun is the greatest movie of all time. And I used to watch it all the time. And it inspired me to be a professional World War II playing video game champion. Someone's going to say something like that. I just know it. I just know. Because whenever you just say something is okay, it's always code for people on the YouTube comment section, on other comment sections that I've seen. Not really this channel where they say oh, you hated it. You didn't like it. You hated this movie. And I didn't hate this movie. That is the truth. I thought it was okay. So goodbye, everybody. See you soon for the sequel.